Hello, guys. Good morning. So fun to be on Facebook Live again. Today, we are talking about art in your homeschool. And this was really good for me because I went way back in the archives of my bookcase and my art supply shelf. And it's been really good to remind me what I did with my little ones because I still have a 9-year-old at home, and sometimes I forget what I still have around that he would really enjoy. So this is really good. Hello, Amber. All right. So I'm going to kind of go in a little bit of an age order, with some of the stuff I used when my kids were really little and then work up to what we're kind of using now. But there's a lot of overlap on that. Sony, that's so funny. I hope that was entertaining enough for the treadmill. I don't think I could watch a Facebook Live video and stay engaged on the treadmill. So I'm really impressed. I have to watch like a really captivating television show. But that's fun. Hopefully it had some tips or tricks in there that maybe you can try. All right, so let's start with young kids. I went into my archives and I found a little drawing series, and this drawing series is still available. And it was this drawing series. And I used to keep these books out all the time. I would lay them on the table and put out some colored pencils and my kids would draw. These are great for your little ones. I don't know what ages they say. But see, really simple. So if you've got little ones around who want to feel more confident about their pictures, like they want it to look like something, that's what my kids wanted. Like they wanted to actually be able to draw something people recognized. This series was great. That's funny. In fact, I pulled out, this is my son's first turtle he drew when he was little. I'd have to open it to find out what age he was, but he was like 4 or 5. So that was from these books. So that reminded me how much my kids really loved these when they were little. And then as they got older, oh, and this also shows you, I randomly pick stuff to frame and hang in the art room. So I try to get a nice mix of all the different kids, and I do a little bit each year so that we have kind of all the years displayed in the art room. So that was one thing I pulled off the wall. As they got a little older, we moved to these books. These books did not look as readily available on Amazon. I don't know if you can still find them somewhere else. A lot of times your library will have these. But these got a little more advanced in the drawing. So this was like the next level. My kids didn't get into these as much. At that point, my kids who like to draw kind of were doing their other things. I think one of my kids kind of got into these. They also have like cartoon animals. And of course, she's my one that really loves art. I have another one. In fact, my 9-year-old really loves art. I should lay these out for him this summer. So these were kind of fun, and they were like the next level. So I pulled these out. Okay, so that was kind of how we just handled some general drawing when they were little, is we just used books. You could look at your library. There's so many how to draw series for little kids. So, just kind of search around. And then, of course, we did a lot of getting to know artists and art appreciation. So I pulled out some books, and I love art. I'm not an artist. And so maybe I'm drawn to it because it's something that I can't do, but I love visually to look at and talk about, that kind of thing. So we have a lot of artist books, art appreciation books that I owned, and I still own because I loved stocking up on these. So one series that I linked to up there in the description is Katie. It's no longer called Katie Meets, it's called Katie and the. So this is an older version, but it's Katie and the Mona Lisa, Katie and the Impressionists, Katie and the Sunflowers, whatever they all are, they all start with Katie, and the author is James Mayhew. These were great when my kids were little. You just kind of got to follow this little girl, Katie, and she went into the paintings, and so they got to know the artist and the painting. And it was just fun. We would read them at bedtime. read during the day. Like, you didn't have to make a big deal about it. It just was kind of surrounding them with art. This is another artist that has a lot for kids, Lawrence Anholt. So this is one of the ones that I own, Camille and the Sunflowers. I really like Vincent van Gogh. So again, just a story so that you can get to know the artist a little bit and the artwork, so your kids start to recognize some of the art. So just keeping these around, and I'm sure your library has them. These are some I grabbed. This one I also own. I love Degas as well. I'm an Impressionist person, so I have a lot of Impressionist stuff around here for the little ones. This is another great one, Degas. And this is one that I grabbed at the library. So just look up this author. Okay, I'm on my Mac today. Is the video working on there? Sometimes when I use my laptop, for some reason, it takes up too much and it's not working well. So let me know if it's not working well and I can switch to my iPhone. Okay, and then I just put a bunch of other ones over here. This is another one I own. I told you I really like Vincent van Gogh. So just go to your library, look up the artists and see what they have there for your little ones that you can read and enjoy. So that was just one thing we did when they were little. This is another series. Now, I don't have the artist one, but this is a series for a lot of topics, 13, and then this word changes, children should know. So we did this one last year, 13 architects, but there's 13 artists children should know, 13 art techniques children should know, 13 famous paintings children should know. I'm actually thinking of grabbing one of those this year. I was really intrigued by the art techniques one. So usually you can then, I'll show you the inside. You can just work through, and we did one a week in our morning basket, and you just have a little bit to read. Oh, hello, Michelle. That's my friend from Maryland. So you just have a bit to read with these. So this series is great. I think I'm going to grab this year the 13 famous paintings and the 13 art techniques and just kind of check that out. So that's another series for artists. This was another one when the kids were little. This is a whole series. This is one I own. Grabbed it at a good deal. That you can look through all sorts of art. And the nice thing is it just helps the kids look at the art. It gives you questions to direct them as they're looking at the painting. So what clues does the artist give you to tell that this is a summer scene? So it just gives you things to talk about. And the great thing is this is a series. It's linked to up there on Amazon, and you can see all of the options. I grabbed one of the other ones from the library. So this one is specific, sorry, it's backwards on here, is African-American art for children. And this one was landscape art. You can get all sorts of topics. So just go to your library, stock up on a bunch of those, and throw them in your morning basket or whatever you call it, and occasionally pull one out and read it with the kids. We loved that series. And same with this one. This one I didn't like as much. I mean, it's fun too. The kids can take these to bed and just work on them, kind of like those I Spy books. This is a lot more like an I Spy book. So it gives a famous painting and then gives you some things to find. And again, you're just getting your kids like focusing in on the artwork. So while they're looking for one blue bow, two spiders, that kind of thing, they're also looking at famous artwork. And there's lots of different themes. This one's America, but again, this series has a bazillion different themes. So these are just, when my kids were little, these were the kinds of books I just kept around the house. And again, this was really great for me to remember because I still have a 9-year-old who would enjoy these books, and I don't always remember to grab them. So I grabbed a few at the library the other day, and I'm going to throw them out, and we're going to look at them, throw them out on the sofa so that we remember to look through them. This is another series that I love. I still use this one with my middle schoolers and even sometimes my high schooler because it's just a quick, easy read for them at this point. But this is Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artists, and it's Mike Venezia, and he has musicians, like composers and artists. So this is a really great one. And so I just pick one sometimes when we're studying an artist and read it with it. So that was easy enough. Great series, works really well for composers too. All right, I want to look at my notes and see. Oh, okay. So those are all some of the books I would keep around. Now I'm going to show you one of our favorite discoveries. I think I have to credit my mother with discovering this series. I may have discovered it at the library and then she bought them for us. I can't remember which way. But this is Rob Gonzalez, and he has a series of 4 books: Imagine a Night, Imagine a Day, Imagine a Place, Imagine a World. Check for these at your library. They make a great poetry tea time because his very imaginative artwork, I mean, I love these. They're like optical illusions. I could look at them all day. I'm so glad I own these. They're just beautiful. Is put to poems. So imagine a night when the darkness of meadow and lake feels too quiet and deep, and so you cut and stitch a city from the starry sky. So it's like the curtains hanging, but also a skyline. Like they're all very optical illusion kind of things like that. So this one is Imagine a Night. He also has Imagine a Day. Same deal in here, poetry with his artwork. So this one is kind of like a, you know, see the person biking down here too? Like, where's the top? Where's the bottom? Are they on the fallen leaves? I mean, these are just so fun. And this, unfortunately, the artist has passed away. But it was fun just to learn about an artist, not necessarily like a world famous history, like Van Gogh kind of thing, but like in our day and age, an artist who is making work and publishing it. So it was just really fun. The one I don't own is the one I linked to because it's a good reminder to me, and that's Imagine a World. So those are great. Just keep books around for your kids to read and enjoy. Pull them out for poetry tea time. Just fill the house, fill the bookcase with books that they can read. And that's how they become familiar with some of these artists. So that's a lot of what we did when my kids were little. For art appreciation, when I wanted to actually make projects with the artists, I would use these books and then I would go find projects. I linked to a book in there called Discovering Great Artists. Back in the day, it was only a decade ago, I relied a lot more on books than I did on the internet. I don't think there was Pinterest. So now I could just go type Van Gogh into Pinterest, you know, Van Gogh art activities kids, and just find a bunch. But I had this book called Discovering Great Artists, and it had information about an artist and then projects you could do with your kids. So it's still there. It's probably at your library. You could look that up for sure. And then this year we used, yeah, isn't it beautiful? I think the comments are lagging a little. But yes, they are gorgeous books, well worth owning. This year we bought, we have a membership to the Great Art, Around the World Stories. We have loved Around the World Stories. And they did a pack this year focused on the artists. This is a family who travels and they write their own original stories and record them on audio for you. And then on the website, they have activities and ideas and all to do after you've listened to the story. So I wrote a blog post, I just linked to it, about how we use those stories to enhance our art appreciation. And we combined it with a series that we owned from the Masterpiece Society. So we listened to the story and then we did art based on the artist. And it was wonderful. It was really nice. I love audio stories because it gives me a little break. It was a different way of learning about the artist because these were fictional stories. So it was about it was more like reading Camille and the Sunflowers, but it was about a 30-minute audio story about time traveling gum is what they use, and they travel. And it was really fun. My kids, my younger 3 listened. So my 9, 11, and 13-year-old listened to the stories, though we all did the artwork. So that was a lot of fun to add this year. So I highly recommend those artist stories. I just put in the blog post if you want to check them out. Another website and company we found this year is Masterpiece Society. And oh my goodness, they offer so much. We love Alicia Greathouse. And she offers art appreciation courses on different artists that have no projects. So if you just want to do art appreciation without all the mess, and I would definitely be able to put something together for a high schooler with that. then you can check those out. But if you like the mess, and I brought some samples, then what we did is we combined her course called Mixing with the Masters with those audio stories, and we did some art appreciation and made projects. So this is my daughter's water lilies when we did Monet. So this was one of the projects from Alicia Greathouse Mixing with the Masters that we did using the all around the world stories. We listened to the story of Monet, and then Alicia's course included 3 projects for each artist. So this was one of Monet's, and this is the other. I think this was called Japanese Footbridge. So that was really fun. That was a great combination, and there are, most of the artists match up. There are 6 audio stories, and then Mixing with the Masters had 6 artists, though only 4 matched up with the stories, but then we just did the other 2. So that was a really fun one, and that could be over the course of like 3 months, and you kind of have that then covered. It could be even longer if you want to just do 1 artist a month. So I'm good on bite size. Like, I'm not like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do 1 a week. Like that can get to be a little much. Though I think at that time we did do 1 a week because it was spring and we were into it. Okay, some of the other things, what I have. Okay, art projects. So we kind of talked about art appreciation projects because, you know, we were going through all the art appreciation books and then what we did to do projects with them. But then what about just general art projects? Like, you don't have to be doing a specific artist in history to just have some fun doing art projects. So the first website I linked to is one that I've used since my kids were little. It's called That Artist Woman. It's not like a updated, gorgeous site, but it's very easy to search and navigate around. She is an art teacher and she just shares what she's doing with her kids, and she has a lot of different ages. So I've always been able to find really unique, fun, and creative projects. And this was before I found Masterpiece Society, where I could kind of buy this and it was all done for me. I would use That Artist Woman. It's free. You just poke around, and I grabbed some of the projects. So like, this was one of my favorite ones we did when my high schooler was actually like in 3rd grade. So this was a little like mixed media 3-dimensional owl. And I told you I picked some things to frame. So I framed this one. This is from That Artist Woman. It was so much fun. It was the first time we painted the paper first and then cut it out. And the next day, you know, put it together to make the owl. But this is the kind of stuff I love just finding when they were little. And, you know, we picked like 3 really intense projects like this a year. That was really fun. The other idea I have for you all when your kids are little, middle school, I mean, it would even work into high school, but when mine were in elementary school, whatever we were studying, we created art about it. So when we did Antarctica, we did penguin art. And this is also from That Artist Woman. Ooh, there's a lot of glare in this. But this was a piece of penguin art that we did. And we did other penguin art too. This is funny because I think this was from when we were studying Eric Carle. I think this is what a friend did with my kids. So I have this little penguin frame too. He's a cute little guy. So just whatever topic you're doing, if you're doing science, you know, find something about the animals you're studying. If you're doing cultures around the world, find stuff that goes with those cultures that you're studying. If you're doing a historical time period, find things that go with that history time period, you know, medieval knights or ancient civilizations. So that's kind of how we did it when the kids were young. Like, we didn't make it this big thing. It just went with what we were doing. A site that we started using when my kids were really little that works really well for what I was just saying, like find the topic you're doing, is the Chalk Pastel site. And I linked to that up in the description. I'll go ahead and I will link to that. And she has a coupon code right now. So right now at the Chalk Pastel site, you can get, oh, let me check. I think it's 25% off. 25% off through Wednesday on anything that you purchase if you use the code Art and Science. One word. I'm writing it here. Okay, so you'll get 25% off anything that you're ordering. We have done chalk pastels since my oldest child was about 7 or 8. I love her site. I have our chalk pastels from all the years, and I keep them in a binder in page protectors. So this is Dan's, little pumpkin. I do it along with the kids. There's my pumpkin. I've had a blast. My kids love chalk pastels. They love Nana, who teaches on the video, and I will hear them say things around the house because Nana always says at the end, she says, "You are an artist." And my kids will say that all the time. And then they'll fill in other things. So, they'll say to each other, like, "You are a math whiz." It's just funny. It's funny when you've done something for so long, it just becomes part of, the day-to-day. So these are just some of the pastel lessons that we've done through the years. One really fun one, and I linked specifically to my blog post about this. Oh, we did the Nutcracker. That was fun. And I just throw all the kids, artwork in here. We did the seashore art video course, and that was really fun in the summer because it was sandcastles. So there's our sandcastle. And it was, coral reef. There you go. So you can find it on any topic. And I noticed today when I was in there, because I was looking at the coupon code and what was available, she had one on inventors. So it was art that goes with, like, if you wanted to do a unit on inventors throughout time. I didn't look a ton into it, but it's the one that popped up with my link. Inventors History Video Art Lessons. I thought that looks really cool. We have the American Landmarks one, and it was really fun because we've done some of the landmarks. So after we visited Niagara Falls, everyone did their picture of the falls. Oh, this one goes this way. Sorry. Which was really cool. We visited Arches, and Arches is in the American Landmarks one. So everybody did Arches after we visited Arches. I'm not finding it, but that was in there too. We did Arches the year before, so it's hidden in here somewhere. And I know she has Yellowstone in there. We're going to Yellowstone in August. So it's just been really fun to look up different topics. And then what's been fun is then my kids have made their own chalk pastels. Like, this is not she didn't do a Stranger Things video art lesson. This was just my kids. Whenever I crack out the chalk pastels and we do a lesson, they're often inspired, and I just have extra paper, and then they make their own stuff for a while. So that's been really nice. I love the chalk pastel lessons, and I used them when my kids were young. I've used them all the way up. My high schooler will still do them with us. And she's a great Facebook page too, where she does a lot of live videos. So you might check that out as well. But right now is a great time if you want to look at something for the summer or to get ready for the fall to grab something, because 25% off is pretty good. That's a pretty big deal. Okay, so chalk pastels. Oh, and I linked to a blog post where I showed our seashore video art course and how we used it. So that's up there if you want to look at that. All right. Is that everything? Oh, I was going to show you how I store this stuff. These are our chalk pastels. These 12 by 12 little art containers, these are actually for scrapbooking. They work really well for art supplies. So this one just says pastels. It also says watercolor pencils, but they're not in here anymore. And so all I have to do when we're going to do chalk pastels is grab some construction paper and wipes, and then, hi Courtney, and then grab this bin. And all the pastels are in here. We have used a ton of different kinds of pastels. I linked to our favorite brand. This has been our favorite brand. So down at the bottom, I have some links to some supplies. Not that you need that because we tend to use Michael's with a coupon, but occasionally Amazon has a good deal. And we've tried lots of brands. They work. Everything's been fine, but that has been, in particular, our favorite brand. So that is how I store it. A lot of people have asked about that. And then this just slips into a bookshelf with that little label facing, and it's perfect. All right. So the last thing that we found this year, and I mentioned it earlier on Art Appreciation, was the Masterpiece Society. And so now my kids have gotten older. They want some challenging projects. I could certainly go research and find more on Pinterest and That Artist Woman, which I link to here. But then we found Alicia Greathouse and the Masterpiece Society and her art courses. And we have fallen in love with mixed media art. And she has a lot of mixed media art courses. But what we focused on this year was the one for each season. She has one for the fall and one for the winter, the spring, and the summer. And each one has 25 activities in it. So the nice thing about purchasing the fall art course, which I'm not going to quote the price, I can't remember, is that it will take us 3 years probably to get through all that we want to do with that. So we picked like 4 projects, maybe we did 5 because we were really excited this fall and now, last fall, and now we'll do some more. So I'm going to show you our mixed media art journals. So you just need a mixed media art journal in whatever size. The size was a little big, but it worked okay for Kaylee. This is my mixed media art journal because Alicia teaches you how to take an old book and turn it into a mixed media art journal, which was really kind of fun. This was my grandmother's book, and she was an artist. So I've turned her old Thoreau's Maine Woods book into my art journal, which was really cool. And Alicia teaches you how to do that in all of her mixed media courses if you're interested. And then she had mixed media activities that we could do. So mixed media is a lot of acrylic paint, a lot of Mod Podge, watercolor, and papers, a lot of papers, like scrap papers and things around the house. That is what I feel like. Oh, and gel pens. So this one was a little white gel pen there. Paint pens. You were supposed to write a quote in this one. She never wrote her quote. The Christmas lights. This was a fun one. You could see the scrap papers behind it. Like you had to paint them white first and then Mod Podge them on here. I loved this winter birch trees. Look at this. This is staff music paper. But that's what makes the birch look. Okay, we have had a blast with these. I'll flip to a summer one. Because we did spring, we did summer. Here's summer one that we did. See, this is scrap paper that we painted with watercolors, and then we ripped it up to make, she had shown a fish and a seahorse. So we did that one. And what I love too is it's inspired like this. I don't think this is one of Alicia's. Like my daughter did this on her own. Oh, this was based on actually a chalk pastel lesson we did. She has a nature dandelion chalk pastel, and we had done it with the chalk pastels, and it inspired my daughter to grab her acrylic paints and make this one afternoon. So that was really nice. I encourage moms, do it along with the kids. I love my art journal. So this is my mixed media art journal that I made, and I do the projects right along with them. So that's fall. Oh, here's what we have watercolors. See the watercolor? That was fun. And that was a little lettering in there too. But this is what you were supposed to do in those Christmas lights, is put things you were thankful for, or made you think of Christmas, or a quote. But again, my kids are always free to do. Oh, good. I'm glad there's a lot of good info for you. I'm trying to see just to show you all the, oh, this one was really fun. This bees was from the spring, these mixed media bees. And what I love is it's really helped my kids and me see all the different materials to create the art. Like we used bubble wrap here, dipped in white paint, and we used like bottle caps to make these. So it's just, I love the mixed media because I don't have to be able to draw. Like if you tell me to draw something, I can't draw something. But the mixed media I can create. I can cut and glue and do all that kind of stuff. So I feel like, and my boys have done, who are 9 and 11, have done some of the mixed media too, and they feel competent. Like they feel like they have a piece at the end that they're proud of that looks like what they intended for it to look. So the mixed media art courses have been really great for that. Now, if my oldest kid was 9, I probably would not be doing them. It's messy. It's a lot of stuff. Like my older kids, this has been a really nice thing to kind of graduate into. That being said, Alicia is offering a lot more these days. So I still think, though, if my oldest kid was 9, we probably wouldn't do as much of this because it is messy. I mean, like Mod Podge and stuff. So yeah, Courtney, I am with you. Like I can't. But the mixed media, I feel like I really like my artwork, but I didn't have to draw anything. Like I just had to paint a background and cut out staff paper, you know, and I like it. So I feel like that's been a really nice addition to art in our homeschool is the seasonal mixed media art. That's hands down, I really love that right now. Now, I will say, I also linked to, she has just started a series of videos called Art School. And this is for the moms who have the kids like I have. One of my children, and I think the fourth one coming up, is really into art and wants to learn like how to do it. My second daughter, who is 13, about to be 14, I actually have in private art lessons. She goes every other week for an hour and is going through the how-to. And it looks so similar to what Alicia's offering. I'm going nuts because it's how to draw, and she did drawing first, and then she did watercolors, and then she did acrylics, and then she did chalk pastels, and now she's back to drawing, but now she's doing like people and faces. And Alicia is now offering Art School 101, and she has the same 4 courses offered. So it does not look like third grade friendly. Like these are really how to do. We started with the drawing one, and my daughter, who's 13, kept going, oh, we did that. Oh, we did that. Oh, we did that. And that was really affirming for me. Like, this is what I paid a private art teacher to teach my daughter, and now is available in a video art course that someone can just buy and have forever for all their kids. So I looked on her site today, and it looked like she is offering all 4 art school classes. And I've only looked at the how to draw one, but she's offering all 4, I think, for $200, which, am I doing my math right? That makes it $50 a course, which, considering what I pay for 1 hour of private art lessons, is a pretty amazing deal. So I was looking at them today, and I think what we're going to do is, because we kind of have chalk pastels covered, we've done a lot with that with our chalk pastels, and I'm really happy with that. I'm going to give my boys the choice of the acrylics or the watercolor. And since my 13-year-old has kind of already done that in her private art lessons, she can just kind of help us out and help us along the way. But I'm going to ask my 11 and 9-year-old boys, like, would you like to try one of these? Or the drawing. I'm a little nervous. It's my 9-year-old who really wants to learn to draw, but I don't know if he's really ready for the activities, you know, when you're kind of assigned, like, to do this, like the challenge of it. Like, he might need to wait a little longer. But I feel like middle school would be a really good age for that. Anyway, so I thought I'd throw those out there because they're a pretty good deal right now, $200 for all 4. I don't know if you buy them separately, if they're on sale, so you'd have to check that. But there is a link to those up there in the description. Oh, and I thought I would show you, like I said, this is now the watercolor bin. So I just use these scrapbook bins. And so when we do watercolors, I can just pull out the watercolor bin. And I linked directly to this one. This is a cheap watercolor pad. This is Artist Loft, which is like a really, I guess, low quality. I don't know. It's the really cheap ones at Michael's, and it was on Amazon. It's worked just fine. I have done a ton of projects with this very basic, it's like $8.99, I think, on Amazon watercolor. Now, because I have a daughter who is into art, she actually has a mixing palette for her watercolors, and we do own the tubes. And I love these. Like, I love these. I'm thinking of getting a second tray and doing watercolor for myself and not have to use my cheap little blocks anymore. This is an inexpensive brand of the 2 paints. I linked to, just because her art teacher recommended Grombacher Academy as kind of not too expensive, but more artist quality watercolors. So I did link directly to that in case anybody wants to invest in nicer. We kind of do that over time. We start with the inexpensive, and then the things that we've really gotten into, we go ahead and invest. Stephanie, I do it all for myself too. Like, seriously, the mixed media courses, they're all about me. No, the girls really enjoy them too, but I've done them all. I mean, I love it. I will say, and I'm gonna just pick up the laptop and y'all can go with me. This is my daughter's hanging here in the house. See this? A lot of Alicia's courses, she suggests doing them on canvas. But even when she suggests Canvas, I encourage my girls to do most of them in their mixed media art journal because I can only hang so many canvases. It's not even about the cost of the canvas, though that adds up too. But like for four kids making canvas, like what am I going to do with all these canvases? So we do most of it in our journals, even when it's suggested on Canvas. Okay, subscription versus purchasing the courses. I have a lot of thoughts on that. I have the subscription to Chalk Pastels and to Alicia Greathouse's art courses. The advantage of the subscription is that I can pop around into anything I want. So for the Chalk Pastels, if I'm doing I want to do the landmark chalk pastels for, American landmarks. I want to do Yellowstone, but then I want to dive into a history one. Like I have access to all the things and you can pick and choose. So you would have access to all of the mixed media courses for the season and all of the art appreciation to pull from all at once. The disadvantage of that is if you don't renew that subscription at the end of the year, then you don't have access to it anymore. So if you're going to really keep doing the art and you see this as like, I want to be a member of this for the next 4 or 5 years, that's awesome because you'll be able to pick and choose from anything at once. I also think the subscriptions are nice because they all include bonuses. I cannot remember the bonuses with the chalk pastel off the top of my head. I can't remember all the bonuses. I know in Alicia's, there is a mom's art thing once a month. She actually posts something for moms to do because she found so many of us were in there for us. So I can actually show you one of those because I did it. Yeah, I've done 2 of them actually. So this was a finger painting flower. I don't know if I'm upside down. Yeah, there we go. A flower bouquet. And I did it finger painting one night. And that was actually really fun. I was alone in the art room. It was just me. So, that's fine. I'm admitting. And this was one of the mom's things, doing chalkboard art. So I just played around with some chalkboard art in my mixed media art journal. I didn't make like something to frame in the house or anything like that. So the advantage of purchasing the individual course is that you have it forever. So like the mixed media fall, winter, spring, and summer, like there's no way I could do all 25 of those projects in one fall. So it's nice to know that you could have it for the next 3 years for that one price. So you could just kind of have to weigh that in. Like, do you just want to pay 1 year and dabble in a little bit of everything? Do you want to subscribe for several years and just be able to pick and choose from everything and everything that's released, which is nice too. So I think you just have to kind of look at your budget and your goals and figure it out. It's awesome either way. So again, we do a lot of art because I enjoy it. It's fun for all of us. We have fun doing it. The kids chat and talk. So for me, the subscriptions are awesome because I can put one kid in art school who's working on that. I can do mixed media with the other kids, and I can pull from the art appreciation as needed as well. Not all of the art appreciation stuff actually is in Alicia's. It's the mixing with the masters that are in there. I'm calling that art appreciation. I just want to be careful there because the non-project stuff isn't in the subscription. So just read what's included and what's not. I'm a little foggy because it's July and I haven't been doing all of it right now, though we did do some of the summer mixed media. I'll show you my seahorse. See, I made the seahorse when my daughter made the fish, and we had fun with that. And there's my watercolor tulips. Or acrylic tulips. Stephanie, we need to get you on that. Yes. And it's good you got the initial rate because I think you get to keep renewing at that rate. So definitely if you have the subscription, go in there, look in the mixed media and pick something for summer. Do it for you, do it with the kids, like pick just one fun thing. And when they wake up on Friday morning, have it all set up and ready to go. And you'll just have a blast. I'm telling you, you will. So you'll need Mod Podge and acrylic probably for all of it. Okay, so that's kind of art in our house. There's so many resources out there. These are just the ones that have worked for us. And I'm actually looking into other things for this coming year too for different projects. Oh, I was going to show you this. I didn't link to this. You can type it in on Amazon or your library. I went through a little phase where I was trying hand lettering. It was a lot of fun. I'm not really great at it. I had a great time playing with the idea, but I was so much more enjoying the mixed media courses that I kind of stopped. But I liked what I learned and it was fun to play with. This was a fun book, but if you have high schoolers, this is another kind of fun art to get them into if they don't want the more traditional, how to draw kind of thing. But hand lettering is becoming really popular again. So you might check into that. So yeah, so Stephanie, I'm going to try to remember to ask you if you did an art project. Do the this one. Do the little, this was a summer one. The little seahorse. Though it was kind of fun, it was kind of hard to rip the papers like for the first one to get it to match like this. It was easier to like to do one of the ones that wasn't. This one's in the springtime one, which you could do in the summer, because you just Mod Podge scrap paper back here and then you painted this tree and just did dots. So this one felt really successful and it wasn't necessarily really difficult. So it was a nice start too. Yes, especially if your kid is asking. If Dylan is asking, then definitely make it part of the school week. Yeah, I just find the night before I can pick one. And again, if you keep basic materials around, and I'm calling acrylics and watercolor and Mod Podge and paintbrushes basic materials at this point, and then go find a cheap dollar bookstore or something somewhere and get a bunch of old vintage books. I don't have any of mine out here, but you do a lot of paper ripping and paper painting. So you just need some old, we have a dollar bookstore here that like you can find just kids chapter books, and that would be perfect, that you can rip out the pages and use them. So then it's time. If you were an interior designer, first I'd love to pick your brain about my house, but yes. And again, this is the kind of thing that it's okay to say for a season, a month or 2 months, like art will be the priority over math. Like we will have some fun with art every week, even if it means that we have to skip a day of math. I think that's okay. I'm not saying the whole year, but like, to say in October, that you could make the art priority. And if Dylan's really interested, then maybe, look at the art school and maybe attend one of those together. Decide, do you want to do acrylics, watercolor, drawing? And he can even do them on his own. The drawing one, all you're going to need is, she tells you the graphite pencil sets and all, and he could sit and watch them even on his own. So while I encourage moms to participate, you don't have to participate in everything. I'm not really interested in taking drawing lessons. That's really hard for me. Been there, done that, But if one of my kids wanted to, I would just set them up and encourage them, even sit with them and maybe try if they were younger. But just know you could set him up and get him going on that. And thank you, A Muslim Homeschool. I'm glad it was inspiring. It was really inspiring for me. I was really excited to pull out all my stuff for my elementary schooler again and get myself back in gear to remember him this year. All right, guys, have a great day. I'm glad this one was a little shorter and we can all get going with our Tuesdays. I will announce the topics for tomorrow and Thursday sometime soon and a time. So I'm thinking it might be later in the day. And Tessa, you make a great point. Like, I have found that working creatively will help their brain in all things. So I do agree with that. And I just find when my kids are happier and school doesn't always feel like books, bookwork, and mommy's always stressing about bookwork, when sometimes mommy's like, no, our priority today is this art project. Like that feels good. Like everybody feels happier in our home and that makes everything go more smoothly. So I think there's a lot of reasons to sometimes say it's okay to make a mixed media project the first thing you do. And Stephanie, let us know if you do one. Send me a note if you do one this summer, just for fun and get those creative juices flowing. And again, the chalk pastels are really quick and easy too. The mixed media is a little more in depth, a little sloppier, but I love it. But the chalk pastels, some paper, some hand wipes, or wet paper towels, and just jump in there. So, all right, girls, now I am saying goodbye. Thanks for being here. This was so much fun. Bye-bye.